Okay, guys. So today's story time is obviously going to be a little bit different than most. So, I just know that you guys have been asking about this for quite some time, and I had just kind of kept you guys in the dark. And I don't think that was fair because Shelby was a big part of this channel. So, I guess it's best to talk about it. If you guys haven't kind of figured out by now, me and Shelby are not together. Um, we are actually both seeing other people at this point. Um, we broke up back in June, and yeah. Before I actually go into this story, I just kind of want to let you guys know that we're both happy. Okay, we both realized the decision that was made, and we've both moved on with our lives. She has a new boyfriend, and I have a new girlfriend, and we're both very happy. Um, let me kind of start from the beginning and kind of clarify why the breakup occurred. So, back in 2013, I had moved to Wisconsin to be a part of the BAM Lounge House. It was a house that we had started with myself and three other guys. And I'm sure you guys remember those guys. The BAM is an acronym for our channel names. B is Bert. A is Aviator Gaming. H is MLG Hunt, now Steven Suptic. And M is Big Mac, now the owner of the BAM Lounge channel, where we upload videos to this day. But in 2013, I had moved up to Wisconsin to be a part of this. And right after the first Christmas, I moved Shelby up. We had been dating for a while. Shelby was my everything. She was my first kiss. She was my first other thing. I'll let you fill in that blank. So I considered Shelby near and dear, and that's why I wanted her to be a part of that house. We lived in that house for 6 months once she moved up. I lived up there for a year, including the 6 months that she lived there. But for the 6 months that she lived there, at the end of the 6 months, she kind of hit me with an ultimatum. She hit me with either you come home to Alabama with me or we break up. And I was met at the same time with a, hey, Bert, we're going to move to Seattle, Washington with the other group of YouTubers. Would you like to come? And of course I wanted to go to Washington because I'm a YouTuber. That's my job. But on the other hand, I've been hit in the face with this, if you don't move to Alabama with me, we're breaking up. And I didn't know what to do. My job was in one hand, but my relationship with who I assumed I was going to marry was in the other. And me kind of having my balls as far down her purse as it was, bent and went back to Alabama. And I look back quite a bit and regret that and doing that, because I missed out not only on a lot of friendships, but on a lot of amazing content that I could have uploaded on my own channel, and just meeting so many of you guys and being able to work with other YouTubers. That's why we moved into that house, so we could all work together and be able to put content not only on our own channels, because it wasn't a selfish thing. It was to be able to work with other content creators. So I was letting down this opportunity that was Seattle to move back to Alabama to people who didn't even want to see me. The reason we moved back was not my family. My family understood that with my job, I travel. And I work with other YouTubers, and in the process of working with other YouTubers, you go where the other YouTubers are. So it was Wisconsin, and now it was going to be Seattle. And I bent, and I went home. And the reason we went home was sort of for Shelby's just personal mindset, but it was also mainly for her family. And her family didn't like me. at all. Her mother, I would say, had the purest form of hatred for me. The woman disliked me a lot. And I tried my damnedest to make this woman like me. I did. I tried everything. I gave Shelby everything. I gave her everything to the point where I was like scared I wasn't going to be able to pay taxes that year. And I almost didn't. My mother had to help me. It sucked. It was scary because I gave Shelby everything and I made sure she was happy. But when Shelby was living under my roof, it didn't matter because her mother, and I quote, saw me as a prostitute. That what I was doing was a hobby, and I was trying to make a living off my hobby, and that what I really had wasn't a real job. And more or less, I should have had a job like Shelby's father, working with tires, having a real man's job. And I actually have nothing against her father. I actually like her father. He's pretty chill, pretty cool guy. But her father hated me. Or not her father. Her mother hated me. Oh, yeah. So I hated that I was coming home to try to dance like a monkey in front of her mother, even though she was never amused. And I did my hardest and I did my damnedest to make that woman like me, and it never worked. Well, I kept thinking about that incident in Wisconsin where I had to move back home to Alabama. I hurt my career by moving back to Alabama. I really did. I hurt my career moving back to Alabama. I missed out on multiple opportunities, not only on friendships, because in the YouTube community, it's nice to have friends. It's nice to be able to work with creators. And I gave up a lot of those to move back home for people who don't like me. But it then occurred that I was going to be able to have an opportunity again. My friends had not forgotten about me, and I recorded with them this whole time, but I didn't get to do any of that in real life content. And I love that kind of content. That's why I loved being a part of the BAM Lounge. Now, when it comes to remembering a line, I am the worst. But I love it. It is almost more than a hobby. It's a passion. I love being able to do the in real life content because when I started off on YouTube, that's what I did. I did in real life content. I actually did the news. I did the news and I really enjoyed that. And, well, I'd been given this opportunity again, and this time it was to move to California. I had lived in California before me and Shelby had actually started dating, and I really enjoyed California, so the idea of being able to move back to California was awesome, and we were going to be in the BAM house. So I was really excited and scared at the same time. Terrified, mind you, because I knew that Shelby would say no. But I had to ask. I had to be like, Shelby, I have this really awesome opportunity, and I want to move out to California where I can work with other content creators and make something of this YouTube channel. I don't want this to just be a job for a few years and then I fizzle out and then I go work, a blue collar or a white collar job. I love this t-shirt collar job and I love making people happy. And she gave me the same ultimatum. If you go, we break up. And she knew that I cared about her more than I cared about myself. Because I gave that woman everything. I gave her all my money. The woman had a shopaholic type addiction where if she had a bad day, she spent money. She had no money, so she spent my money. It was an expensive freaking time in my life. The amount of money I spent on that woman. Well, it had gotten pretty tough because I kind of questioned whether or not I should go to California. And then I realized that I had done something that I never wanted to do, and that was become something that in my family we call a yes man. It's the yes dear, yes dear, yes dear. I didn't want to become that. I wanted there to be a give and take instead of a here, you can have everything. And I had put myself in those shoes, And I have people in my family that are those yes mans. And every time I looked at them in disgust. I'm not going to name names because I love my family. But we have some yes mans in our family. And I hate that for them. And I found myself right there in those shoes. And I finally kicked those shoes off and said, screw that. I'm not going to be this yes man. This is my job. Shelby at this point had a job, but it was very little income. It was a part-time job. And what she was making, she was spending on clothes, cigarettes, and the occasional drink at the bar. And I was just like, no, this is my job. I have to make this work. So I'm going to California, and I hope you come with me. And yeah, that was where it kind of all started to go downhill. Shelby started hanging out with a friend at work, and this friend at work wanted her to go out to the bar with her. And I didn't see any issue with her going to the bar at this point because I was just like, yeah, sure, whatever, go have a good time. Because I at this point I didn't know if she was going to come to California with me or not. And again, I'm not going to treat her like a jerk if she's not. I told her that. I was like, I want you to decide for yourself, not for me, but for yourself. Do you want to go or not? I had finally taken the balls out of her purse and reattached them to my scrotum, and I was very happy that I was doing that. But she started spending a lot of time with these friends at the bar. So much so that I had to start picking her up on the daily because she was drunk. And I hated that. I hated that, and I hated seeing her like that. So I knew that not only was this a tough time for me, but it was a tough time for her because she was trying to cope with alcohol. And I hated that. And I think things are better now for her. I don't know. I don't really keep in contact with her, but I'm hoping things are better. But it came to packing because I had already ordered not a U-Haul, a pod, so I could ship my stuff out to California. No way am I driving that a U-Haul all the way from Alabama to California. I would have killed myself, even though I did drive from Alabama to California, but with a U-Haul, I would have killed myself. But I'd ordered a pod, and I'd ordered a pod big enough just in case she wanted to come. I still gave her that option. She'd not given me a definitive answer. Shelby's really bad about giving an answer yes or no. So it was I don't know until the last freaking second. And I'd begun packing because Shelby didn't really show herself around the house much. She worked. And then when she was done working, she went to the bar. And she drank with her friends. And then she'd come home and sleep, wake up, go to work, bar, come home drunk, go to sleep. And that sucked. So I decided to pack separately. Because, well, she wasn't packing anything in the house. So I decided, well, I guess I should pack things separately. So I put all her stuff in one pile. And I put all my stuff in another. And it came down to the last 2 or 3 days, and she was spending time with her friends. I think she had kind of already made her decision. But then it came to all my stuff's packed in the U-Haul. You need to get your stuff out of the house. So it was the last day. The last day of my lease. So everything had to be out of there. And, well, it wasn't because all her stuff was still in there because she just decided to bum on her friend. And I had to text her and say, yo, get your stuff out. I'm having to throw it away. It had come down to that. I had no other choice but to say, get your stuff or I got to throw it away. Because I'm not going to hold it. I'm not going to be a nanny for her. I have to leave for California here very soon. So her and some friends had rented a U-Haul and went over there and got it. She was apparently butthurt, even though she had been told for weeks that this is the day I'm leaving. So I didn't really understand her anger. It was honestly petty in my opinion. But I never even got to say goodbye to Shelby. Never got to give her a hug goodbye. Didn't even get to wave at her from a distance. The only thing I got was when I went back to the apartment to make sure she had gotten everything, was a little napkin on the counter that she had written with some lipstick, like, "I will always love you," something like that. I don't remember what it all said, but I don't know. That's kind of where the relationship ended. Not even being able to say goodbye in person. But again, she seems happy, and I'm happy. So that's all that matters. I sort of latched on to Shelby because she was my first, and I feel like maybe it wasn't supposed to be. That me and Shelby ended for a reason. I think everything happens for a reason, and that happened for said reason because you gotta understand, guys, no happy relationship ends. It just doesn't, unless somebody dies. In this case, nobody died. So, this wasn't a happy relationship. Things had happened to get us to these points. And I hate that those things happened. I just hope she's happy. And I hope she hopes that I'm happy. Because I am, and I hope she is. So, I'm going to end the story there. Again, I still care about Shelby. I want her, I want for her well-being. I want things to go well. And I guess we'll see what happens for her. And the same for me. So I'll stop babbling. I'm sure I've talked your guys' ear off, long enough. And yeah, I'll end the video there. Bye-bye.